Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rise Market Live with What the Femme podcast. I'm Marie de Menthe, and I am so excited to bring to you our second guest ever for this new series that we're offering in partnership with Rise. Everybody, please welcome to the stage, Franxx. Hello.
Oh, hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Thank you
Hi,
so much.
everybody.
Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to share you with our audience. I am so in love with your work. You look amazing. Can you tell me about this look? Is this a self-crafted piece that we're wearing?
Yeah, I used to work in visual merchandising, so I would always like take home extra like plastic and just like random things. And I actually wanted to recreate this look because I had made one in red previously. Like it's just like pieces of mylar, like kind of configured in like a one-time wear way around my.
Right. I love that so much. It's sustainability, it's fashion, it's innovative. Now, do you also have red gloves that go with
The red look.
the red version as well?
I do. I think I have probably like 7 different colors.
That is so great to hear. We love a near full length glove. It's truly, there's just, I don't know, there's something about the feeling of long gloves, I have to tell you. But before we get
You're not
started,
anybody else. It's like,
do
oh, sorry.
no, I was gonna, what were you saying? Say that one more time for me.
It's like when you put them on, you just become somebody else. Same thing with like a wig or like acrylic nails. It's very.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like one tiny little aesthetic piece to just like it like throws the energy. I don't know. It like my posture is adjusted. I have a whole new level of confidence. Yes, exactly. Lots of hand movements. Everything is emphasized with like fingers and hands. Oh,
Oh,
excuse me. Oh, hello. Lots of this. Lots of
oh,
here.
oh, so sorry. Oh,
So I'm in this garden and I'm here and Eve and I have this apple and I look great. Fashion. Absolutely.
exactly what it's like.
Before we get started, could you do us a favor and share your pronouns with us, please?
Yeah. My pronouns that I usually go by are they, them. And it's more out of generalness. So I also take, any of the other pronouns as well. I'm sort of kind of an open book, like open-ended pronoun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to hear. Thank you for sharing. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've brought you on today because I, as well as our friends over at Rise Market, are super fans of your work. We really, really love your music. So, I want to get to know a little bit more about you, your process, and quite simply fangirl out a little bit, not gonna lie. So I guess my first question that I have for you is, how did you get into your music? I've seen that you've described your work as like pop, techno, avant-garde, innovative. Obviously these are lots of like overarching words, but if you could speak to a little bit about the kind of music that you make, that would be really awesome.
Yeah. So the journey's always very long and fun. It was really when I was in school, I needed like an outlet for just feelings and growing pains, and needed something that was going to be therapeutic, but also could be creative. And so I just started messing around with music, and I started actually making noise. Like,
Oh, word.
yeah.
Yeah. Like noise music of just like pure cacophonous sound. Now, did you use any kind of like, I don't know, non-traditional instruments? And like if so, what kind did you use to create your noise music originally?
Well, I actually have done everything on the computer. Um,
Cool. Okay.
I know the fun part about it is that I just kind of like will just like steal sounds that I like and just kind of like morph them into something else, or like compress and like push and pull and like yank it over something to be like something else.
Absolutely.
Really, it's actually all been on the computer. I know a little bit of piano, and I've known some music theory, but I've really just I kind of rely a lot on the way it makes me feel, and like how it's like pouring out. And I'm like, okay, that felt right, you know.
Absolutely. So would you say that your one of the like your greatest source of creative energy is based maybe in like your emotion, like what you're going through at the time of when you're writing.
It's very true.
I love
I
that.
I know I'm a Scorpio, so everything is like super emotional all the time.
Everything is emotional at all times to
Like
the maximum 100%.
exactly, it's like as deep as you could go underwater. That's as deep as I just like live.
I'm in it.
I'm just like okay, so what now? What am I
Right.
gonna do?
I'm
That is really where I put a lot of it is in the music. I try to like tell stories and kind of also like bookmark myself against myself. So even though
mhm.
back and like listen to stuff that's like no longer on SoundCloud or anything, just like old like 2011, 2012 archives of me. And it's interesting to hear the way that like the lyrics change or like the way the compositions change and like getting it and being like, oh, this is like kind of my diary in a way.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like you've created time capsules for yourself to kind of open back up and be like, oh, yeah, I remember what I was going through when I wrote this. And like maybe there's a piece in your music that is symbolic to you in a way that may not always like stand out, which I think is a really fun experience that a lot of musicians get to have when they create and record, which brings up the important point of how um, valuable it is to record your music and preserve it in that way, not only to be able to go back to it, but just to like document your growth, just like you've mentioned. um I think it's beautiful, and it's very reflective in its way. I think it's a very underappreciated aspect of creating music for sure. um so obviously I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I agree with you.
Oh,
I'm just like,
thanks.
oh, I agree with you.
Thanks. Yeah. A long time ago in a galaxy far away, I used to be in a funk band and got to
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and got to write a couple of EPs. So I have like and 3 EPs out there of all original music. And I have one EP in particular that I think of that I wrote like during a really bad breakup. And it is just like so apparent in all of the lyrics. So right there with you on taking those little trips back in time and kind of reflecting on how far you've come, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, so what I was going to ask, so in the music that you've created and, over time, obviously there's all kinds of different, we listen to all kinds of different things, and the way that the internet and social media has advanced, we're able to find new stuff. So could you share maybe some influences that you listened to when you were growing up that kind of helped mold your work, and then maybe who you're listening to today that still kind of feeds your creative energy in that way?
definitely. Well, growing up, I think was very interesting because I'm first generation. So my parents came here in
Oh,
1989. I know, I'm like, but even my mom, she was like, what are you wearing? And I was like, this is what I'm wearing. She's like, okay. And I was like,
oh, so
uh,
sweet.
so growing up, we listened to a lot. It was like, like I will tell people that I'm sometimes feel so out of touch because I didn't know about like pop music
Mhm.
until kind of like when I was like in my early teenage years. So growing
Wow.
up, well, just whatever CDs they gave me. So it was like a lot of Selena. Like I was devastated when they killed her.
Ugh,
Um, it was
yes.
a lot of like we had this one CD that was like 2000s, 1990s dance.
Oh my
And it was
goodness.
like a mix CD from like the grocery store.
Love
Like
it.
a sticker on top of it, and that was it. Um,
It's awesome.
so listening to a lot of that kind of like
Mhm.
really early like hyper dance, but like
Yes.
from the 90s, like stuff that like I'm trying to think of like a good example. Like Pump Up the Jam, things like that.
Yeah, lots of stuff that's like very electronic based and like rooted in like heavy synth and a lot of like produced beats and a lot of that like 808 clip. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like the epitome of the 90s, and obviously Selena with her background being rooted in Texas and and like Tejano music and whatnot as well. There's a lot of, again, oh man, You'll have to come back, and we'll just have to do an entire episode dedicated to Selena. I would love to do that.
We'll definitely do that.
She is an icon, obviously. I mean, if you're from Texas, you've got to know who Selena is. If you're not and you're listening or watching this with us right now, please come back to this and go listen to her music right now.
Sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, there I can absolutely see those connections of that like 90s and early 2000s like beats and dance and the rhythm and like the
It's almost like the industrial
BPM.
like
Thank you. Yes, the pulse. I was like the BPM. What is it? The term. Yeah, but yeah, it's absolutely prevalent in your music. So that's great as far as everybody what you listen to in your upbringing. So who would you say now that you like to listen to that's from like I guess more modern times, current times, that you would listen to that influences your music today?
Well, I listen to so much random music. Recently I've been really, I mean, even though I know she really may not have the most clean reputation, unlike any of us, really,
right.
Dua Lipa has had a year.
She has
A year.
absolutely. And I mean, I'm right there with you. We can absolutely, it is a reminder that we should never idolize other people like celebrities and famous people, politicians, etc., because they themselves are also human and capable of error and are allowed to be critiqued 100%. But all of that to say, Dua Lipa.
Exactly. So that's one side of things. You know, it's
right.
Like Dua Lipa. Of course, always Lady Gaga. You know,
of course.
Even like Cheek to Cheek Joanne era still makes a comeback on my like iTunes shuffle, and I'm like, all right, you know,
let's have this moment.
Exactly. I listen to a lot of random like folk music, which I think is kind of a surprise for most people. They're just like, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I spend most of my like when I drive in the car, I only listen to the classical radio station.
Oh, that's so sweet. I mean, it makes sense. I feel like your ears probably like need a break and like need a little bit of something different in order to change up the game. It can't always be like heavy hitting bass and high percussion at all times.
Like most times, don't get me wrong. Most times, yeah. Like today on I just like put dance music on shuffle on my phone and was like, all right, you know, it's 8 a.m. and I'm out here just like
doing it.
I think the biggest influence though so far of all the influences that have come, I think the biggest ones were Arca, Charlie XCX, Grime, and Bjork. And specifically everything that they did in like 2011 to like from then to now, like tracking and seeing their growth. And even just the way that they use kind of like slap music in the face.
Yes.
Like there's something to be said about like I think with my work, I struggled at first because I had like, you know, was never in chorus, never got chosen for the plays, like never made it to any of the singing anything.
Yeah.
So when I approached my music, I was like, well, I'm still gonna be a pop star. So I was like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? Or sorry,
no, it's fine. You can absolutely curse. This is a cursing show. You can say fuck however you want. Yes.
But so I just kind of, you know, I sort of was like, oh shit, like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, and then so now I think it's like a combination of like that side of music, but then like still reaching for like the Dua Lipa side of pop. So trying to like live in both worlds at the same time.
Do a little dance, yeah.
Like I could be in a Pepsi commercial, but I can also perform at the Met if I had to, you know.
Right.
Sort of, like
absolutely. Yeah, and have that duality as an artist.
Right. The same as being, you know, in one of my songs, Damn, it's like sometimes when I'm a woman, I'm a man. And it's like, yeah, the duality of it. It's like I don't ever want to be
tied down to like one kind of identity. Yeah.
It's like I'm just kind of, you just kind of put me anywhere, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like Frankie's committed. Like if it makes sense.
Done.
Right.
Absolutely. No, that makes total sense. I mean, I think that it's important for artists to embrace the duality of and whatever their work might be.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, personally, I have a lot of bias, especially towards like performance art and whatnot. Big fan of any kind of like performance art media in that way. And obviously in music as well. Um, but I think it's important for artists to branch out and to try different mediums and venues and experiment in those ways and sample from completely different kinds of music that's,
Mhm.
uh nowhere near the kind what they produce. I mean, I'm thinking about Lady Gaga, obviously, as you've mentioned. She produces anything from like house club type, like club music to, jazz standards to opera, and we still love and admire every single piece that she offers. And it shows the like true potential of your artistry as well, like being able to embrace all these different pieces and like, I don't know, like 100% showcase who you are as an artist and a person to the rest of the world through your music. And I see that a lot in the stuff that you create. um, you mentioned your song "Damn" that you have out, and what how it kind of talks about that duality. What else have do you feel like what other kind of topics have you touched on as
Mhm.
far as like the written portion, like the lyrical side of your music? What do you like to really focus on in what you produce? I know we've talked about feelings, but as far as like topical content.
Yeah. Um, well, I think I would say like the past 2 years, I've been super focused on like trying to figure out who I am outside of my body, like who I like
Right.
am in that
Who I
way.
am as a human. Yes,
Exactly. And just
absolutely.
like, like
Again, the gloves, the
I
gloves.
literally,
I
um,
wish I could just throw like a bubble cream, like opaque, beautiful, like dusty disco thing over you every time you did that as just a
like a side sweat, a Ken
yeah,
Burn.
exactly. Just like a Ken Burns.
I fuck,
Yes.
sorry, but
No, it's fine.
so
I'm
lyrical
so
content.
fine. Lyrical content, yes.
Uh, it sort of depends because I like to tell stories. So okay, so spirituality and self awareness and self growth.
Yes.
The main topic of my years, the last
Hmm.
three. And so I kind of wanted to figure out a way to talk about what those experiences look like, but also at the same time subvert the entire conversation so that it leaves a lot of open room for like for there to be almost like no topic at the
Right.
same time. So each song on the EP specifically were all different like stages of my own like almost like ascension out from myself in a lot.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it was like there's like the Frank's FRNX song, which is like a declaration. It's saying like, you know, like it's just kind of like a little choppy, like kind of cunty little like
I fucking love
really
it. It's so
campy
good.
aspect of me. But then it
Yeah.
over into like damn and same, which are a lot more almost like playful, but also more serious tone because they're like, okay, look, this is what it really is. This is how I'm feeling. It's like this is what's going on. And then when we dived into like Lear and like I accept in like the back half of the EP, those songs actually tied closer to like a previous single which I put out, which was Snake,
Hmm.
because those songs are all more about um, for lack of a better word, they're more about the conversation I'm having with God, really,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
with the universe. And it's
Right.
trying to say, I think I'm trying to illustrate to other people that becoming a person is not easy,
Hmm.
regardless of who you are. And so I wanted to
Absolutely.
write music that was not there was almost like zero intention for like familiarity. It was
Hmm.
more like, okay, if you go through this, I think
Right.
you'll appreciate this. and kind of writing music for an experience that's not really talked about. You know, it's like eventually I would love to write a song that's like pop bottles, champagne, you know, dance in a car in the middle of the highway. Because who doesn't want to write that song?
Right, of course.
I think there's also something to be said about making music for like the past person in me and thinking like, oh, if there was someone who was 16 and saw me and my music, I would want them to hear in the lyrics like, oh, like Franxx has overcome a lot of these things, but Franxx is like taking a moment to like chop out like, you know, kneeling and like asking the universe for telling the universe like, oh, you accept what's bound for you, or like or being angry in like a club type of situation and like saying you're tired of like all the same bullshit, you know.
Yeah,
Kind of like giving words to people who maybe didn't have words for those things before. I think is like
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your art provides representation in many ways. And I think that is the almost involuntary plight, job, responsibility of most queer creatives that we either take on ourselves or is placed upon us, you know what I mean, to create those spaces for representation. And I agree with you 100%. I think you're paving a great way for, you know, those to come, and maybe those who are already here and just too scared to kind of live authentically and express authentically and choose to represent themselves and their communities that they live in and exist in, through whatever work that they might do. So yeah, I think that is, I see the goal. It is being achieved, and it is very much admired and quite lovely in its presentation. I really do love it. And I have to only, the only thing I would disagree with is that
Okay.
I do feel like I could pop bottles to your music. That's all.
Okay. No, I'll take it.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Uh-huh.
even if the bottle is by myself and in like a tiny little rage party to myself,
Yeah.
it's still cause for action in the form of bubbles and alcohol.
I'll take it.
That would be the only one.
It. That's, I mean, at the end of the day, I think lyrically there's like so much content, but I think what makes something I really enjoy about my own music is like the subversion of like pop.
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
sort of like the whole presentation is pop. Like you're like, oh, dance music, somebody
Right.
rapping some lyrics, oh, a chorus, oh, you know, and it kind of like hops its way through.
Yeah.
But then
And like,
when you read the lyrics, you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Wait.
you're pulled in by the beauty of the energy of the song itself. And then once you take that deep dive, people go, oh, 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 oh.
Like
It's a 360 experience, truly.
and even when I was doing, I mean, that's one thing that's really sad about not being able to do shows was like
Yeah.
this album, I really wrote it. I I produced and wrote it with the intention of doing it live, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like these songs, I was like it off of like huge speakers just like pounding into a room. I was like
Yes.
that's a whole other, that's like the New York City that I used to dream of, you know.
Oh,
Like 3
yeah.
a.m. in a basement somewhere, one red light in the corner, and
Just one.
just like getting super lost and just taking it all the way there, you know.
Absolutely. Have you ever been to New York?
Yeah, so I actually I lived in Brooklyn for
Oh,
6
excellent.
years. Yeah,
Cool.
since COVID, you know, I don't have a job.
Right.
I'm kind of like floating around with my parents for a while. You know, I'm kind of like taking it. I took
Taking it easy.
Yeah, taking it easy. I was like, I'll focus on my art. I'll make some
Yes.
new music. I'll make some cool stuff. Like I'll just,
Hmm.
you know, take the universe's gift. Like, thank you for getting
Right.
my job. Like, I appreciate it. You
I'm
know.
glad to still be here. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've just been so I lived in Brooklyn, but as of now, I'm kind of free. You know, if anybody asks,
Yeah.
I'm like, I put the white curtain up because I'm like, oh, I'm in Frank's world.
I'm
Like
just here. Yes.
sort of mobile and free and can kind of go anywhere, you know.
Yeah, and take your art with you anywhere you want to go,
Mhm.
like what we're doing right now. Speaking of Frank's World, you have an awesome YouTube channel that you've been producing as of recent. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
So excited.
with the music, I recognize that there's a piece of the music that like, okay, if you don't listen to electronic or experimental or even pop, like if you don't listen to one of the many genres that's meshed in, it may not be the easiest thing for you to access.
Right.
So I was talking, which is just, hey, this is what it is. Like I'm okay with that. You
Right.
know, I don't make music for it to be like sonically appealing always.
No,
Sometimes I'm like, well, this is kind of gonna grind your head down if you listen to it too many times in a row.
but it's important to me. So
Exactly. And so
there's that.
on the flip of it, I was like, well, how do I take all of this fashion that I've made here at home, you know, because that's all I've been doing is like making stuff, like
Love it.
working through different visual ideas. So I was like, how do I take those ideas? But then I'm not gonna wait until 3 years from now to wear some of these things. I was
Right.
like, I need to wear them now.
Right now.
I need something, I just need to. And so I was thinking, I was like, well, the message that's not getting received by people who can't necessarily comprehend the music, they can actually get the message in a conversation, you know? And
Yeah.
I wanted to make a YouTube channel that was that wasn't necessarily like personal,
Hmm.
but something where like my brother said this to me, because with like I did an episode on coming out, and my brother was like,
Yes.
anybody who's struggling with that process, if they saw and heard what you said in that video, they would like, he was
Be
like,
totally relieved. Yeah.
he's like, you're doing it, because I just kind of set it up and sit down and think like, okay, today I'm talking about pizza. And then I just like rant about pizza.
Yes.
So I've been trying to do a lot of different topics and trying to bring things to people's lives that maybe they don't think about. You know, like I did an episode on consciousness. I've been doing recording some episodes on like healing and, you know, the different levels of consciousness and like aliens, conspiracy, you know,
Love. Yes.
and
Love
just
that.
making it very like, and then just also showing people and then getting dressed like this to show people like, hey, you know, I'm a regular person just as much as you are. You know, like
100%.
we're all regular people. And I
Mhm.
also am worried about aliens. So I'm gonna talk about it.
So
You
we
know,
should all be regular people together concerned about aliens and discussing our potential of consciousness. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm right there with you.
So that's really what it is like
Mhm.
trying to just a way to get the information across in just a different way, you know.
Yeah, and really connect with people in like a very vulnerable way and yeah, and like almost, for lack of a better word, like normalizing way.
Yeah.
Especially being able to like bringing your fashion side as well as your music and then your knowledge of, everything that you've been studying yourself to like better yourself as a person and now you're sharing all of that wealth of knowledge with the community in a really accessible way. That's and fun to watch as well.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's just like I was talking to my friend the other day through Instagram, and we were saying how there's so much gatekeeping when it comes to knowledge. And I was
Yes.
like, I was like, that's really what I wanted the YouTube channel to help kind of cut through is that it's like, wait, you don't have to be anything to get knowledge. Like you just have to grow.
Yes.
Like
No, and be open to learning. And yeah, I think, and that's, technology is obviously something that we've touched on a lot in this conversation. I mean, without it, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now. We wouldn't be able to create our music and such. And I think the creation of YouTube has made learning accessible to everyone and has kind of dismantled that thought of like, you have to pursue such and such higher education. You have to get such and such class or such and such certification in order to be considered um, valid or considered an expert or what have you in a field or on a topic. That's not necessary anymore. Now we as common people are able to empower ourselves and empower each other by sharing our knowledge just like you're doing. So it's
exactly.
beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful work. So like speaking of being an influencer, which I feel like you are definitely like a great queer influencer in your work and just in general an influencer. Um, who would you say, obviously, you know, Rise Market, What the Femme podcast, this is very much a queer community and that's who and where we grow and thrive and interact with the most. Um, and it's where we also get a lot of our own empowerment from. So who could you say would be some of your biggest like queer LGBTQIA plus influencers on your life, on your work, on your upbringing? Who would those be?
Wow. That's not something I think about very often, you know,
Yeah.
with the queer part of it. But
Right.
I would, because I would say it's been like the most random people. Like in high school, it was one of my friends in high school named David Burkle, who, if he's watching,
Shout
you
out
know,
to David. Hey there.
they were so, it's, I guess, and even that being said, it's been David, but then to like all of my like friends, really, you know,
Yeah.
um, just like people that I've known in the city and like out of the city and just like other queer identities who are willing to like share the space together has been really influencing to me. You know, I think especially, yeah, I would say it's like a lot of my friends mostly.
Absolutely.
Because I think it was with them that like they were able to gain some freedom, and then so was
Mhm.
I. And it was kind of like this back and forth of like, oh, by the way, thing. And then I guess outside of that, like celebrity wise, you know, I think
Mhm.
in my life has been kind of influenced a lot by. It's so weird. It's like I guess as an adult, I don't think about this, but
Yeah.
um, I focused so heavily on just like I identified more with like just like the pop divas aspect of things. And ever since I was little, it was like Maya, and then it turns into like
Oh
Britney
my
Spears,
gosh, yes.
Secret, and just like even like NSYNC, which like I didn't even, which maybe I had queer coded for myself.
Hey, I mean, is it NSYNC members or Backstreet? No, I'm sorry. It's Backstreet Boys who've had later to come out several members who are actual members of the queer community as well.
Exactly.
Um, but yes, could have been
So
queer coded, who knows?
it's been a lot of stuff like that, you know. As far as Instagram goes, I think I really enjoy a lock,
Oh yes, Alok Van Elm. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to try and continue to butcher their last name. But
no.
yes, they're from the College Station area.
Oh, right, in Texas, right?
Yes, out in Bryan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I met them when I worked at I think I signed a paper, so I can't talk about it, but I worked. He's gonna be like, duh, Frankie, we all fucking know. But
You're
I'm
like,
like,
we know you did. It's fine. But that's
um,
cool. You got to meet them. Yeah.
I got to meet them and that was really cool. You know, I got to meet a lot of living in New York, just if you party and you just live in New York,
Oh yeah. Right.
everybody. And so
Yes.
it's been so humbling to meet some of those people and be like, and let's say like even if I was brave enough to like wear an outfit like this, and
Uh-huh.
it was coming from a place of like I was forcing myself to do it because I was
Uh-huh.
like I can do it, so I have to do it. You know,
Right.
I'm uncomfortable. Whereas
Yeah.
people like that kind of gave me, and it was like a good mutual exchange of like space.
Yeah,
It
and
was,
like agency in a way.
yeah, and it was like, oh, phew, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that showed up to the party looking like this. You know, like
Right.
there are other people who are also expressing their identities equally as violently. You
Hmm. This is a violent expression of
know, like fight me
how
about
very yeah, fight me. Ah, yeah, no, I feel that.
it's cool. It's been the most random people, but it's always
Yeah.
been stuff like that. It's just been like, oh, what? Like like meeting some random person in the train. Like my one of my best friends, Kiwi. Actually, we'll shout out Kiwi. They
Yeah.
I met them on the train the night of my like 23rd birthday, you know, super,
Oh,
and it was just like I was wearing like a white fur coat and they had like super long hair and we were just like it was just like a
vibing,
who are
right? You're
yeah, it was
like,
like what are you
you,
doing?
I
Right.
see you over there. We are kindred spirits. We should be friends. Yes.
And so it's been
I
moments like
love
that
that.
where it's
Hmm.
just like people who just it's just really been a lot of just like life. I guess, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you mentioned that your friends are part of your biggest influences. Because I think it's an important reminder about how valuable community is, especially in the queer community, and like having your chosen family, even if that includes your biological family, but having that chosen family who is there to like unconditionally uplift you and validate you in your art and your presentation and say yes when it's time to go to the party. And you're like,
Exactly.
am I loud enough or not? I can't really tell. You get that validation in that way.
And more pieces of jewelry. It's
Right.
like,
You should add 3 more beads there. You don't have enough rhinestones. We should glue them right now. Yeah.
exactly.
That's having that space to fully embrace who you are and be supported in such like vehement ways is such a great thing to have. And so shout out to all of our communities and our little pods of people who've made us into the beautiful humans we are today.
I agree. Shout out.
Shout out to everybody. Speaking of shout outs, so obviously we're here partially brought to you by the lovely people of Rise Market. Tell me how you discovered this awesome space that we get to operate in.
Well, so the rice market was actually, I guess, I think this is when I know the algorithm's working.
Oh,
Um,
right.
because there was a point in time on Instagram where I think Instagram thought that I was, um, I guess there was something to do with like the level of skin percentage in my photos. They were like blocking. I was like getting shadow banned, and I was like, no, like wait, hold on.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
I know, and I was like, I get it, but damn.
But
But Rise
yeah.
Market kind of like it was like I think it was when I was in Arkansas too, staying with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Rise Market like came up like as just like a like first it was like the posts would come up and I was like, oh cool, you like this is awesome, like
Mm-hmm.
online queer like maybe not necessarily handmade depending on what's being made, but
Right. Locally made goods. Yeah.
and then there was like they put up like the call for performers and I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
That's
hey,
me.
it's me. Yeah, like I want to play, I was
Yeah.
ready. Um, so really it was through Instagram, it's through the web. That's how Instagram has been. I know that
Right.
Instagram is not Tumblr,
Right.
Tumblr
Unfortunately.
in time and it will, even now, Tumblr's not the same.
No, nothing will ever since Fosta Sesta, nothing will ever be the same, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the world we're living in right now.
Exactly. So Instagram has been, it stinks because that's like the closest place to find community and representation
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
queer people all over
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's like on one end it sucks because like Instagram politics, like
Right.
and drama and oh, am I posting enough? Am I posting
Right.
too much of that kind of conversation? But on the opposite end, it's great because I would have never because it brought us to each other.
It did. It absolutely did.
Connects people from all over the world in such
Yes.
interesting and like beautiful ways that it's like, oh, like I would have never, it's like you can feel so alone sometimes. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, my friends are, maybe they're all in Texas now,
Mm-hmm.
friends in Texas, but it doesn't mean that we can't, it's like, oh, the internet's beautiful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been a big savior, especially this last year when we've all been, kind of estranged from the people we love, the things that we love to do, the spaces that we get to operate in, like performing live in person. Like you will get to do one day with that new EP. I know you will. It is coming. It is coming.
It definitely happened. I can feel it.
Yes. Yes. Um, Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think Rise Market is doing a lot of really great work to bring like-minded queer individuals, queerpreneurs together, makers and performing artists and people who never, I am constantly running across different brands, new musicians and artists from that all have art or interact with Rise Market in some way. and I am super looking forward to its future growth. And I'm also super looking forward to watching you grow in your own art and do more performances and bring your show to lovely little Denton, Texas. I don't know how we'll get it worked out, but we'll book you a show out here, my friend. I swear it. Would love to have you.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love to do that.
it would be so fun. Let's just get everybody vaccinated and then we can do these shows in person and it'll be great.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight for this little conversation. I've had such a great time getting to know you. It's been a true joy. And I, once again, I'm super looking forward to being able to witness your art in person when it's safe to do so. But before we go, if you could share with us how can our people who are watching, our listeners of our show, how can they find your art? Follow you on social media, plug all those good things that we can use to promote your work.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's to be able to do something like this is like it's a dream to just come on and talk about art. I don't think that's not a thing, so I really
Yeah,
appreciate the
of
opportunity and
course.
like the humble little person who had Chick-fil-A for dinner in me is
Like, oh,
you know.
yeah.
So anybody who I guess wants to follow me, I'm not on Twitter because it makes me a little my brain goes too fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm on Instagram. It's FR_A_NX_X.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know who has the original just Franxx, but
Somebody's got it.
I'll buy it from them one day.
One day.
Well, it'll be easier to get that. But then I'm also
Correct.
on, YouTube. So that's YouTube, Frankie Martinez Music. After a certain point of subscribers, you can change the name. But until then, that's the name I've had since 2011. So it's in
Yep.
2021. And then I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any streaming thing, a Deezer,
Wow.
Napster, all
Oh
of
my
them.
God.
So you just look up,
LimeWire.
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I was on LimeWire.
I am still surprised that LimeWire is still a thing, honestly.
I feel
But
like I love my computer too much.
right? I know. I'm not trying to break my computer. Thank you. I'll just
Yeah,
buy the music. How about that?
especially now, I'm like, no, I'll just buy it. Like, it's
Yes,
okay. I'll pay the subscription fee. It's fine. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm all over the web. If you find me on Instagram, you can find me. It's easier to you can navigate towards everything else. But yeah, I'm on Facebook too. But
I know. Facebook's a whole other conversation within itself.
and I'm aging myself by even telling people that I'm on Facebook.
Oh, I know. Apparently, we're old if we're still on Facebook. I'd never understand that, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
I told the girl at the restaurant the other day. I told her, she asked me if I had seen this particular TikTok, and I was like, oh yeah, I saw it on Tumblr. And she was like, how old are you? 30? I was like, whoa, okay, first of all, I'm 28.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, but I'll take it.
Right.
Fine.
It's fine if I'm 30.
I'm on the web, but I just try to stay away from certain.
Yeah. For the good of our health, honestly.
Exactly.
Have to take care of our health in that way.
Mhm.
Well, we'll be definitely plugging your music and this show for many, many days to come. I can't wait to blast your music in my car next time I get to drive through, downtown on a nice warm day and roll those windows down and let everybody hear your work. And
Oh,
again, like I said, you'll have to come back and we'll have to do a whole episode talking about Selena and 90s dance music and early 2000s dance music. I want to go into it. It's a lot to talk about in that venue for sure.
I'm definitely down to come back. I will gladly do a Selena outfit tribute or something.
Oh,
Go with the
yes.
line guard because I'm very young.
I would love to do that. That would be so fun. Oh man. Well, thank you to everybody who's joined in the conversation and tuned in with us today. It's been such a great time having y'all. And make sure to tune in with us next month. That's going to be on Wednesday, April 14th for our next Rise Market Live. We'll be sitting down with Darcy McFarland of PTS Feminist. Well, thank you again, Frankie, for joining me this evening. But before we go, I know we've got a song that we wanted to feature at the end of the show for everybody to enjoy with us. What are we going to be playing for everyone today?
So today to share, I brought the music video for my new single, Damn.
Yes, such a good clip. I love that. Who did you get to work with on that? Who directed that piece for you?
So it was a collaboration between me and a really good friend, Anthony Hart. We actually went to high school together, but reconnected after I moved back to the area. And I was like, oh, hey, I was like, we should do this together, like, and he was super open and very down.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kind of, we arranged a studio setup and just sat there and like shot the whole thing. I explained the whole project to him and just was like, we just need it to be, well, I just wanted it to make sense. That's all I told him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care what happened, I just need it to make sense.
Just do the thing, make it work. I love that. Hell yeah. All right, folks. Well, here it is, brought straight to your viewing pleasure space. It is the one and only music video for Damn by Franxx. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for our next Rise Market Live. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I can't stop running. Who I'm becoming has known real fear that won't exist here. Being clear with you, I don't want to fight. Even though at times it seems I might. When I learned to burn, I was set free. Born of fire, now I have my wings. What I wonder time distills. The dreams that you create for me, I kill. I'm not the type to be excited by some cheap thrill. And I'm opinionated, burdened by the path that I feel. I'm not talking emotion, always moving forward motion, burning heart of blind devotion. Born of fire, now I realize how my fire is born to materialize. And in those moments I'm like, damn! I don't think it's my job to understand why when I'm a woman I'm a man. I think you do it cause I can. I think you do it then like damn. I don't think it's my job to understand why when I'm a woman I'm a man. Skilly hands it to me, the voice I needed in order to be. My words are lucid, you speak excuses, time to stop, stupid, break your heart, Cupid. If you listen close, I could tell you those secrets that you'd want to know, secrets that could let you go. You're not man or woman, most times barely human, in your face occluded, this pussy's gender fluid. Being clear with you, I don't want to fight. Even though at times it seems I might. When I learned to burn, I was set free. Born of fire, now I have my wings. Born of fire, now I realize how my fire is born to materialize. Damn! I don't think it's my job to understand why when I'm a woman I'm a man. I think you do it cause I can. I think you do it then like damn. I don't think it's my job to understand why when I'm a woman I'm a man. Skilly hands it to me, the voice I needed in order to be. Being clear with you, I don't want to fight. Even though many times it seems I might. When I learned to burn, I was set free. Pop star, same shit. Rock star, same shit. Hip hop star, same shit. I said